Good day, everyone. I am Hannah J. Nehemia from BSED 1A. Now, our discussion is all about language and gender. Learning objectives explores the relationship between language and gender, distinguishes sex versus gender, examines gender inequality in language, differences in men's and women's speech, and gender ideologies and identity performance. Introduction. Language and gender are intertwined, with research showing distinct communication styles between men and women. Men often use language that direct and assertive, focusing on fact and solutions, and tend to be more hierarchical. On the other hand, women often use language that collaborative and exclusive, emotionally expressive, and relationship-oriented. These differences aren't absolute, but rather general trends. Recognizing and respecting these variations can improve communication and foster a more inclusive environment. What is gender? Sex refers to biological differences, male and female, while gender is socially constructed. Early linguistic studies focus on sex to identify broad patterns, but later research showed that sex alone doesn't explain language well. Gender better captures how people express identities, masculine, feminine. Recognizing that not all men or women share the same traits or ways of speaking. Inequality strongly shapes language and gender. Despite legal equality, everyday sexism remains common, is often expressed through language. Public figures such as politicians have made sexist remarks that reinforce stereotypes. For example, suggesting women attend university mainly to find husband or portraying women as domestic and men as more skilled, while dismissing feminism in a derogatory way. Inequality at the lexical level. Terms for men and women often show lexical asymmetry, where supposedly equivalent words carry different connotations. For example, bachelor and spinster both mean unmarried adults, but bachelor is positive, while spinster is negative, suggesting loneliness or unattractiveness. This implies that being unmarried is valued for men but stigmatized for women. Many female terms are also marked, meaning they are gender-specific versions of a neutral or male term. Male terms are usually unmarked and seen as neutral, while female terms are marked and often carry negative meanings. This asymmetry is especially clear in pairs like master, mistress, where the male term implies authority but the female term suggests sexual impropriety. Generic he. The idea of generic he claims that male terms can represent everyone, but this is questioned by the existence of female marked forms. This issue is clear in example like every student should bring his books versus their books. While his is traditionally considered generic, it often fails to clearly include women. Prescriptivists accept only forms using he, rejecting use singular they, due to number agreement despite its long historical use. Research shows that he is no longer the preferred generic pronoun. Singular they is now more common and supported by major style guides. Attempts to introduce new gender-neutral pronouns have had limited success because pronouns forms a closed grammatical system that resists change. Robin Lakoff's Language and Women's Place 1975 argued that women's language includes features such as hedges, tag questions, polite forms, and avoidance of swear words. Although later research questioned her evidence. Lakoff's work was influential because it highlighted social expectations about how women should speak, rather than proving that women naturally speak differently from men. Lakoff's feature reflects an idealized model of femininity used to judge women's speech. Her works also shape future research by prompting linguists to test these claims, such as studies on tag questions, often linked to uncertainty and lack of power. These studies show that beliefs about gendered language are shaped by ideology and that linguistic features are complex and cannot be understood without careful analysis. Tag questions turn statements into questions by adding a short phrase at the end. They can serve different functions. Some express uncertainty, model function, while others are effective, used to invite response, encourage participation, or show sensitivity. Lakoff 1975 linked tag questions to women's language, interpreting them as signs of uncertainty and lack of confidence. Later research challenged this view. Studies, especially by Holmes 1984, found that although women may use more tag questions, they mostly use affective tags to facilitate conversations. Men, by contrast, more often use modal that express uncertainty. Tag question can also take on different meanings depending on context, showing that one form serves multiple functions. This research highlights that assumptions about women using less powerful language reflect social ideology, not linguistic reality, such as beliefs persist because they align with broader patterns of gender inequality in society, not because they accurately describe how women and men speak. Gossip. Gossip is commonly understood as talk about other people and is often viewed as trivial or malicious. It is also stereotypically associated with women. Deborah Jones, 1980, defines gossip as intimate, personal talk between women, usually in private setting. While this definition has been criticized for focusing too narrowly on women's domestic roles, later research shows that such talk helps women explore relationships, emotions, and social identities. Coates 2011 found that women's conversations often focus on people and feelings, while men's tend to focus on object or activities. However, this does not mean gossip is negative. Linguistic research shows that gossip is a complex and meaningful form of communication used by both men and women and plays an important role in social bonding and understanding normal. Gossip is often seen as a female form of talk, but research shows that men also engage in it. Cameron's study of an all-male group of college students found that although their interactions included stereotypically masculine sport talk, it also shared key features of gossip. The men discussed personal topics such as daily activities, shopping, relationships, and shared stories. They also talked critically about absent men they knew, focusing on appearance, behavior, and sexuality. This shows that men do participate in gossip-like talk, challenging the stereotypes that gossip is mainly or exclusively associated with women. Men's talk is often described as competitive, with the preference for holding the floor one speaker at a time. Silence is commonly used by men to signal attention, while women may interpret silence as a communication problem. However, these patterns are not always present. Research shows that features like competition, silence, and topic choice vary by context. Topics often labeled as impersonal Overall, language use is not strictly divided by gender. Both men and women use cooperative and competitive styles depending on the situation, not their sex alone. Not all talk is equally valued. Public talk, such as speeches, meetings, or media appearances, is highly valued and linked to power and status. Research shows that men speak more than women is in this public context, where language is used to inform, persuade, and influence change. In contrast, private talk such as conversations with family or friends focuses on care and relationship building. Studies show women talk more than men in this setting. However, private talk is generally less valued than public talk, reflecting the broader social inequalities rather than differences in ability or importance. The claim that women speak 20,000 words a day and men only 7,000 is a myth. Linguist Mark Liverman, 2006, found no research evidence supporting these figures. They are widely repeated without any reliable source. Despite this, the belief that women talk more than men is deeply ingrained across cultures. Understanding who talks more requires recognizing that there are different types of talks. A key distinction is between public talk and private talk. Public talk, linked to status and power, focuses on informing or persuading and often limits who can speak. Private talk centers on relationship and social bonding. These differences in context rather than gender alone help explain patterns of talkativeness. Gender identity is performed through everyday choices such as clothing, behavior, and language. How people speak plays an important role in how they do gender. Kisling 2005 shows that young men in a fraternity use the word dude to perform a heterosexual masculine identity. Dude is a flexible term of address whose meaning changes with position and intonation, helping speakers signal masculinity, solidarity, and group alignment. More than a conversational marker, dude expresses social relationship. Kisling argues that it conveys cool solidarity, friendship without over-intimacy. This fits heteronormative expectations that discourage emotional closeness between heterosexual men. Thus, dude allows men to show camaraderie while maintaining emotional distance. This example demonstrates that even a single word can perform gender and that such performance rely on social ideologies where heterosexuality is treated as unmarked and homosexuality as marked. Local ideologies. Gender and Sexuality Jones 2011 shows that gender and sexual identities are context dependent and perform differently across communities. Studying a specific group of lesbian women, she demonstrates that there is no single way to be a woman or a lesbian. Identity is socially constructed, fluid, and shaped through language influenced by local norms and broader ideologies about gender and sexuality. Language is like a vibe, and different genders often bring their own flavor to the table. The way we speak, the word we choose, and even the tone we use can be super unique. It's all about respecting where each other is coming from. Instead of trying to fit people into boxes, let's appreciate the diversity and how we communicate. It's not about who's right or wrong, it's about understanding and vibing with each other. By doing so, we create a space where everyone feels heard and valued.